This video will provide an overview of the lessons for week 29, days 57 through 61. This week, students will wrap up Task 5 Extreme Living Solutions and complete their culminating unit projects, ending this unit. On day 57, students will connect their work in Task 5 to the culminating unit project. Next, on day 58, students will reflect on their learning and make connections to the cross-cutting concept of energy and matter. Then, they will begin the culminating project for the unit, starting first with the group project. Students will then view each other's presentations and provide feedback using a rubric. Finally, on day 61, students will work on the individual portion of the culminating project and wrap up the unit. Now, let's go through the key points from each day, starting with the lesson for day 57. Students will once again make connections to the culminating project that they've been working toward throughout this unit. In the previous week, students built and tested prototypes of the products they designed to maximize or minimize thermal energy transfer. Then, they read other groups' posters in order to revise and improve their own group's design. Now, in their project organizers, students should draw a labeled diagram of the final product, showing how thermal energy transfer is either minimized or maximized. They should explain how the product works and describe how they combined characteristics from several different designs in order to meet their criteria and constraints. Students must also cite the data that supports their decisions. On day 58, students will reflect on their learning so far about temperature and thermal energy transfer. First, ask students to explain how they applied their learning about these concepts to the creation and testing of their prototypes. Then, in their student handouts, they should make connections to the cross-cutting concept of energy and matter. Where were there examples of energy and matter in Task 5? What questions do students still have? What does the movement of particles have to do with the product? These questions are crucial for students to actively connect their content learning to the design process they engaged with here in Task 5. On day 59, students will begin assembling their culminating projects, wrapping up the unit. The culminating project has two parts. First, it consists of a group project that presents the products students designed, and second, an individual project that reviews the product and the science behind it. A separate video included with the slides for day 59 goes into more depth about the differences between these two projects and options for students to complete them. Be sure to review the project criteria for success with your students before they start working on the project. I often find it helpful when reviewing project criteria to have students draw a check next to things they definitely understand and circle or star things that they're confused about or need clarification with. Then, students will need time to meet in their groups in order to decide on roles for the project. Who will actually build a model of the product? Who will draw a labeled diagram to show how it works? Which group members will design and create the virtual presentation? Remind students that they already have all the information they need in their project organizers. They've been writing and gathering the information throughout the entire unit. Working in groups is often difficult for younger students, even with assigned or chosen roles, and extra so when working remotely. It's very helpful to give students time to reflect not just on their work for science, but also on the process of working in a group. How well have they distributed their work among their group members? Does anything need to change about that? How could they improve the way their teams are working? Writing this reflection will help students consider their work in groups, and revisiting it the next day before rejoining their group will really help students make their ideas actionable. After creating their group presentations, students will view each other's work and provide feedback using a rubric. After providing feedback to other groups, students will also need time to read and analyze the feedback that they have received. To help students prioritize and focus their feedback, review the group project success criteria once again. Then, give students time to watch each other's presentations. Students will use rubric number 8 as the basis for their feedback and to score each other's work. A separate video included with the slides for day 61 goes into more depth about each of the rubrics for the culminating project, especially on the individual project side. The main focus for students is how well groups explained how their product minimizes or maximizes thermal energy transfer using the scientific concepts that they've learned throughout the unit. Students should provide feedback using the rubric, writing their feedback on the videos posted to Flipgrid or Padlet. Once again, to wrap up that day, students can use each other's work as an opportunity to improve their own work. Finally, this week, students will begin work on the individual section of the Culminating Project. In the group project, students presented and explained their products. Now, in the individual project, students will write a consumer report to review their group's product and the science behind it. As before, with the group project, be sure to review the success criteria so students know what their consumer report should contain. There are several rubrics for assessing students' individual work on the Culminating Project. Another video included with the slides for day 61 goes into more detail into this three-dimensional rubric system for assessing students' content knowledge, science and engineering practices, and understanding of the cross-cutting concepts. Once they have completed their individual projects, students should be sure to submit them through Google Classroom, ending this unit, Extreme Living. Remember, the slides for each lesson come with a cover slide with links to Google Docs and other materials, and the following slides provide helpful content background information, suggestions for teaching synchronously or asynchronously, language development supports, and supports for ELs and students with disabilities. Those are the major tasks and key points for week 29 as students finish their work on task 5, Extreme Living Solutions, and complete the culminating unit project for this unit, Extreme Living.